Video games are insanely popular. With over 2.5 billion players worldwide, the niche is generating a mind-blowing $120 billion in revenue per year. The cool thing about the video game market is that it's packed full of younger people who not only know their way around a keyboard, but are familiar with using virtual currencies like V-Bucks. Sounds like the type who would be easiest to get into crypto and kickstart some major adoption, right? My name is Guy, and today I'm going to be looking at Enjin Coin, the all-in-one blockchain game development platform that helps game developers crowdfund, grow, and monetize. I'll also share my views on the potential of blockchain games when it comes to widening the adoption of crypto, and explain why I'm so excited about this area of crypto. Oh yes, and remember to stick around till the end of the video if you're interested in getting my personal take on Enjin Coin, thoughts on how the project could be used outside the gaming sphere, and if I've added the project to my portfolio. Before I get cracking, there are a few things I need to say. Guy is no one's financial advisor, and these videos are for educational purposes only. With that out of the way, I'd like to welcome everyone who has landed on the channel for the first time. It's awesome to have you here. Don't forget to bosh that subscribe button and ring the little bell. Do that and you'll never miss another one of my videos again. Okay, good to go? Let's get started. So, what is the Enjin project? Well, to understand that, it's important to get what blockchain is all about. In a nutshell, blockchain can be boiled down to individual sovereignty and true asset ownership. In a monetary sense, this just means that you actually own cryptocurrency rather than the value being a number on a server that someone can shut down. Instead, blockchain ushered in a new system where a network of computers run code that everyone agrees on, and all those computers essentially agree that Guy, the crypto guy, owns a certain amount of cryptocurrency. That's essentially what Bitcoin achieved about a decade ago. So, what Enjin is doing is moving those concepts outside of just currency and letting people tokenize virtual items through creating an ecosystem of tools that makes this accessible and usable. So, you could tokenize things within video games, and that's the primary area where the project is focusing. Enjin allows you to tokenize a weapon, a gun, a piece of armor. Essentially, this is a contract written in code that gives you that ownership. Enjin has also created a system on the blockchain that says a specific person owns a weapon. Now, that may not sound like that big a deal. However, think about it. Blizzard owns World of Warcraft, and in the traditional gaming system, it is the game developer Blizzard that says this player owns the weapon. The tough pill to swallow is that Blizzard have the power to shut down any player's account and make those special items inaccessible to a player who might have spent literally hundreds of hours earning them. What Enjin is all about is trying to change the current ownership rules of digital items outside of the sphere of money and extend this to in-game items. The key here is that these special weapons should not be owned and controlled by game developers, but that they should actually be owned by the gamers themselves. So, with all that abstract stuff out of the way, what you need to know is that Enjin is a Singapore-based company founded way back in 2009. The way I like to describe Enjin to friends is that it's a blockchain-based game ecosystem built on Ethereum that aims to provide game developers with all the tools they need to build these games. It also gives gamers everything they need to discover, trade, and store blockchain game items. Before I dive deeper into the Enjin ecosystem, I want to take a minute out to tell you about the ERC1155 token. It's super important when it comes to understanding the Enjin ecosystem and the application of blockchain in the gaming space. So, let's jump into that. ERC1155 was created by Enjin all the way back in 2018. In short, this is an improved version of ERC20 and ERC721. It combines the benefits of both non-fungible and fungible tokens. So, what do I mean by this? Well, let's take a game like World of Warcraft as an example. Within the game, you have gold as a fungible in-game currency. However, there are also magic items that are unique and non-fungible. What ERC 1155 does is that it enables the issuance of both fungible and non-fungible tokens, which is pretty critical for any game developer considering implementing crypto assets into their game. Want to learn more about non-fungible tokens? Well, here's a video I prepared earlier. So, what is the Enjin coin and what does it do? In a nutshell, it's what the game developers use to pay for blockchain-based gaming items to be created or forged. These could literally be anything from fungible custom in-game currencies to unique non-fungible items like special weapons, armor, and collectible cards. Each digital item created has a certain amount of Enjin coin inside them, which can be retrieved later by melting the item down. This means that players can be assured that each in-game item will always hold some value. When an Enjin-powered game is released, players can complete levels and win Enjin coin as a tokenized reward. The Enjin coin can be used to buy in-game items from in-game stores or alternatively trade with each other. Now that you know all about Enjin coin, let's dive into what the Enjin platform is all about. The Enjin platform is the part of the ecosystem focused on blockchain game developers. In short, it empowers game developers to raise funds to develop their games by selling pre-release items during the game development stage. Indeed, this is probably the simplest way in which you can use blockchain in any game, by tokenizing valuable items, armor, and rare weapons. The platform also helps game developers to monetize once the game is up and running by enabling them to charge a transfer fee whenever in-game items are sold on third-party marketplaces. Now, that is a big deal for game developers. Let's not kid ourselves, the buying and selling of valuable in-game items has been going on for some time in grey or black market online marketplaces. Here's an example of such a marketplace for World of Warcraft Classic. One of the core issues for game developers is that it's these middlemen that are making all the money from the exchanges and not the game developers themselves. That lost revenue is where Enjin's system ensures that the game developers can get a fair cut from this sort of activity. The Enjin platform also gives game devs some pretty cool tools to grow their community by gamifying their marketing and offering in-game assets in return for online engagement. One neat thing that Enjin unlocks is the ability to allow your in-game assets to flow out of your in-game walled garden. This means that you can give in-game assets for your new game to the players of other games and organically build your community. That's what one indie game developer did with Enjin before the game was even released. Another cool tool that Enjin offers is something called a founder's token. This is essentially a membership token which says that the token holder was one of the founders of the game's community movement. For players, it's sort of like a badge of honor which says, I was one of the first guys to discover the game and I helped build its community. Developers can also send perpetual in-game item rewards to their founders by sending blockchain assets to their publicly visible blockchain addresses. Now that's a pretty cool way to reward a game's most valuable community members. Another cool thing the Enjin platform opens up to game developers is the ability to build decentralized gaming multiverses where players are allowed to use and level up their characters and bring their items to different games. That means that if I put in a few weeks of gameplay into a game, let's say it's called Guyland, earned a boatload of special items and leveled my character up, I'd have the possibility of using that character and those items in a more serious Enjin-powered game like 9 Lives Arena. Another cool element of the Enjin ecosystem is Enjin Beam, which is built into the Enjin Wallet. This is essentially a QR code airdrop system which game developers or people like you and me can use to run giveaways for things like special in-game items. This provides a cool way to market games through loot drops and helps build an engaged game audience. For players, you merely have to scan a QR code and claiming the airdrop. It's that simple. Now, I've spoken quite a bit about what the Enjin ecosystem can offer game developers. Let's now move on to looking at the tools that have been created for guys like you and me. The Enjin Wallet is honestly one of the simplest and fastest crypto wallets I have ever set up. Head over to the Apple app or Google Play stores and download Enjin Wallet. I've popped the links in the description. Then just smash the Create Wallet button, enter a password, select the coins you want to add, and click Create Wallet, and you're done. The cool thing is that the wallet is basically your one-stop shop to storing and sending ERC721, ERC1155, and ERC20 tokens, while also supporting major cryptos like Bitcoin, Litecoin, BNB, and more. The Enjin Wallet is also your gateway to accessing other elements of the Enjin ecosystem, like managing your collectible tokens, scanning Enjin Beam QR codes to receive that special foot drop, the Enjin Marketplace, dApp browser, and more. Now, let's move on to the EnjinX Block Explorer and Marketplace. If you hop over to enjinx.io, you can search transactions, addresses, coins, assets, etc. However, clicking on the 3 lines in the top right-hand corner will activate a drop-down allowing you to look at ERC 1155 assets, the Enjin Marketplace, and more. Clicking on Assets allows us to browse through all the different ERC 1155 assets and see if there's anything we want to buy. Let's say that I was super into the blockchain game crypto fights and wanted a new suit of armor to stop me being battered too hard within the game. I can search through the items listed to sort the issue out. Now, when I play the game, I tend to get whacked by bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. So it looks like epic vengeful steel armor looks like the thing I need. What's pretty neat is that I can look at all the wallet addresses that hold the armor, the historic transfers, the recent market activity, and more. All I need to do to get this game-changing item is to click the Buy button and select the sale price I want. Then I can just scan the QR code with the Enjin app on my phone and make the purchase. It really is that simple. For those interested in the marketplace, it's just a really cool way to list your digital items and sell them. Thousands of items are already listed here and are being traded right now. It also integrates with the Enjin Explorer and Wallet perfectly. What's awesome is that people are actually using the Enjin Marketplace to trade items for the games that have not even been released yet. Pretty crazy, right? I've actually found the whole experience super intuitive to use too, which is certainly a breath of fresh air when it comes to the crypto space. Now, you might be thinking that Enjin has got everything solved. However, that's where I have to burst your bubble. One of the major things that the team is still working on is called Efinity, which is Enjin's upcoming Ethereum scaling solution. So, why is scaling an issue? Put simply, if Enjin powers thousands or even tens of thousands of games, then the chances are that this will produce hundreds of millions of in-game asset transfers. Yes, it was a big deal when Enjin announced in February of 2020 that the Enjin platform had been made live on the Ethereum mainnet. However, Ethereum 1.0 is only capable of processing 15 transactions per second, and that's nowhere near enough for what Enjin is hoping to achieve. Also, if Ethereum comes under a very heavy transaction load, then ETH gas prices could skyrocket, making them economically unviable for in-game microtransactions. Sure, Ethereum is working on scalability with Ethereum 2.0, and you can learn more about that in the video right here. So why is Enjin's Ethereum mainnet a big deal? In a nutshell, it means that users can create and mint new assets on the Ethereum mainnet. People can start using the Enjin platform in the way it was intended. When it comes to Efinity itself, it's basically a structure that lets the Enjin platform sync with blockchain and non-blockchain data. The problem it's trying to solve is that blockchain is super organized, and Enjin wants to make the platform compatible with non-blockchain data or items as well. With non-blockchain data, it's not a serialized system, and that's where the difficulty comes in. Enjin wants infinite scalability and infinite parallel transactions. So that's why Enjin is working on merging this parallel system with the blockchain. It's about having an item on a blockchain and having copies of that item outside of it. Now, I want to spend a bit of time talking about Enjin's potential to grow crypto adoption amongst the gaming community. As you now know, Enjin gives gamers that personal ownership of digital items. Imagine being able to own the items in games and having the power to trade them with people. Even better, many years down the line, blockchain-based games would enable players to still access those items earned in-game. This means you don't have to ask the permission of the owner of a walled garden to access those items. This opens the door for people to build applications and communities around these items and directly interface with them using APIs and the blockchain. So you can build whole systems outside of games like marketplaces or apps which show all the details of an item for any game on the blockchain. For game developers, Enjin opens up new ways to fund game development, monetize, market, design games, and potentially unlocks new in-game mechanics. In short, the potential is immense for those that want to build upon the crypto gaming system that are now emerging. Even better, these are open and accessible to everyone. Enjin ties into all this as their whole thing is making all this blockchain gaming stuff super easy to use. The goal is to develop a solution where a person who just plays games and doesn't know much about blockchain will be able to interact with blockchain items in the near future. All that sounds pretty damn amazing. However, we should be measured. The truth is that there are very few blockchain games available right now. We really are at an early stage when it comes to crypto and blockchain-powered games. To put things into perspective, I think we really are in the equivalent of the Pong era for blockchain-based games. In short, we've got a heck of a long way to go. The cool thing is that people are still buying these pre-release items for games, trading them, and maybe making some income. In some cases, they're even playing the game, earning items in-game and selling items that they don't need or items that are super valuable that they want to monetize. This means that gamers can actually earn something when playing a game. So that's another amazing thing that many people don't bring up about crypto games. It could make it easier to become a pro gamer. Although most blockchain games are still in development, there are a bunch of betas and alphas coming out. So what sort of game developers are getting involved in the action? Well, it's the really brave and innovative game devs who are the ones trying out this technology right now and seeing how they can make it work within their games. Some are looking into unique and strange ways to use the items, like in storytelling. The thing to be honest about is that developers are currently experimenting with what you can do with blockchain in a gaming context. For example, looking at how marketplaces will influence in-game economies and exploring if items can be traded freely. How does this impact on the economy of a game? Now that's super interesting, and it's going to be intriguing to see what game developers figure out on that front. Top stuff on getting this far. I know there's been a lot to take in about Enjin and crypto gaming in general. However, I do want to take a few moments to share my take on the Enjin project. Personally, I think it makes perfect sense to tokenize virtual items, and I love the idea of gamers actually being able to own these items and trade them. Yes, blockchain gaming is a long way off becoming mainstream. However, I was really impressed by how easy Enjin made things for players. Frankly, I think it wouldn't take long for someone completely unfamiliar with blockchain to get used to using the Enjin Wallet and Block Explorer, and I think that's super important for the adoption of Enjin for regular gamers. On the game developer front, it seems clear that the project has gone to great lengths to make things as easy as possible. This not only includes extensive documentation and offering software development kits, but things like the Enjin web panel. Pre-web panel developers used to have to interact with the Enjin system using APIs and other tools the team had put out. However, the web panel means developers can do everything from creating new items, uploading new images, minting copies of items, setting parameters, creating Beam QR codes. I honestly think this is a massive deal for the adoption of Enjin among game developers. Another thing I find super interesting is Enjin Beam. Put simply, it allows someone to scan a QR code and get a blockchain asset in return. I can see this sort of tool having applications outside of gaming. Businesses could use this to promote their stuff. Think about people walking around at conferences and being able to give the people they meet something of value and track those items. You could even incentivize people to come back and use these tokens to unlock other things in the future. Items on your website, for example. Now, I've said a lot of positive things about Enjin. However, the project certainly does have problems to overcome. If Enjin doesn't successfully release their Efinity scaling solution for Ethereum, I honestly think that the project is going to have a massive uphill battle when it comes to convincing larger game developers to use the platform. Another major point is that it's still uncertain if many traditional game developers will make the switch to blockchain gaming. So far, the game developers Enjin has worked with are experimental and early adopters that want to try out this new technology and build something new. The challenge is in persuading established traditional game developers that they will not lose players or slow growth because most people don't know much about blockchain. This is actually a massive potential problem for Enjin when it comes to the wider adoption of their ecosystem. Will Enjin usher in a new era of crypto adoption through video games? I don't know. However, I do think Enjin is building something incredible here, and I'm super excited to see how this project progresses in the future. Although I've not added Enjin Coin as part of my portfolio just yet, I'm certainly keeping close tabs on this project. So, that's all for now, guys. But what do you think of Enjin? Do you think video gamers are the key to unleashing a new wave of crypto adoption? I've actually minted 2 exclusive Guy tokens in the Enjin Mint shop, so leave your thoughts in the comments below and your Enjin addresses to win these. Oh yeah, and remember to like this video if you liked it and sub if you loved it. I've been Guy, your crypto guru, and I'll be hitting you up with another crypto video soon. Stay tuned. Guys, I have to level with you. There is so much more that I wanted to share in that video, but I just didn't have the time. Now this is exactly why I have my weekly newsletter. It's my regular rundown of what's going on with crypto, as well as some unique coin picks that you just can't miss. Sound like a good idea? Righto, it's pretty damn simple. Ping over your email address in the sign-up form below. My next newsletter is being cooked up as we speak. Chat later, chaps.